How is your affiliate program looking? Have you noticed how most of your affiliate traffic and referrals are from less than 20% of your channel partners? Picture your top affiliate. What would it look like if you had 5, 10, 50 more affiliates just like them? That's what we're uncovering in today's episode of Partnership Unpacked. This is Partnership Unpacked, your go-to guide to growing your business through partnerships quickly. I'm your host, Mike Alton, and each episode unpacks the winning strategies and latest trends from influencer marketing to brand partnerships and ideas that you can apply to your own business to grow exponentially. And now, the rest of today's episode. Welcome back to Partnership Unpacked, where I selfishly use this time to pick the brains of experts at strategic partnerships, channel programs, affiliates, influencer marketing, and relationship building. Oh, and you get to learn too. Subscribe to learn how you can amplify your growth strategy with a solid takeaway every episode from a partnership expert in the industry. I'm Mike Alton, and I'm here in the home office in St. Louis. And friends, I've got a problem. I'm looking at our channel partner program and first promoter, and I've got to be honest, the vast majority of my affiliates have zero referrals last quarter. That's not good. It's not good for my program, and it's not good for those partners. Now, some of those affiliates could use with some better nurturing and training, and that's on me and something we'll probably touch on in a future episode. But I also have to wonder what else I could be doing to bring in more affiliates like my top earners, the ones that are driving loads of traffic and quite literally making thousands of dollars a month from Agorapulse commissions. Well, that's exactly what our guest today, Farzad Rashadi, is going to talk to us about. Farzad is the lead innovator at Respona, the link building outreach platform that helps businesses increase the organic traffic from Google. He previously ran the marketing efforts at Visme, where he helped the company gain over 18 million active users and pass 3.5 million in monthly organic traffic. He's partnered with me on a number of initiatives over the past few years and was gracious enough to come on the show and help me with this dilemma. Hello, Farzad. Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Hey, Mike, I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. Now, please just set the stage and share with us your experience with affiliate programs and affiliate marketing.
Absolutely. Well, Mike, as you know, just to kind of give you a little background, I started my career in marketing working as the first marketing hire at our parent organization called Visme. And I'm assuming you've heard of Visme before since we've partnered together on a number of occasions.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. You know what? Let folks know what Visme is if they don't know.
sure. Yeah, absolutely. So for folks who haven't heard of Visme, it's an all-in-one branded content creation platform. So if you're a business looking to create, presentations, all sorts of different graphics, reports, proposals, and you want to keep them on brand, you use Visme. And so the challenge that I faced at the company was that we were completely bootstrapped. And as you know, as a bootstrap company, obviously resources are always very limited. So what we had to rely on was on organic channels to bring in customers to our platform without having to pour a large portion of our marketing budget into paid advertising. So the two main channels that worked very well for us at the time were obviously SEO and content marketing, but another big and close second was our affiliate program. And both of those initiatives required us to do a good amount of outreach to identify, okay, who is the right partner that is going to be active. Because as you know, when you just open up your affiliate program and just put a little link in the footer of the website, you get a ton of applications, given that you get a decent amount of traffic. But the reality is that only a very small portion of those affiliates are actually going to be actively promoting the product or the service that you're selling. So it was always a challenge for us to try to break out of just waiting at the waiting game, basically waiting for good affiliates to come to us. And we quickly realized that requires us to actually take the initiative to go after affiliates that already have an audience, that already are generating referrals and traffic for other products similar in our industry. So that sort of initiative was done by duct taping a bunch of different tools, and it was a nightmare dealing with a bunch of spreadsheets. And so what we did basically was to put together the whole process that was already working for us manually, stuck in one platform, was sort of our internal software for us for about a year and a half, 2 years, and we decided to release it as a standalone product. So that's sort of the backstory of how Responder came to be as a standalone product out of Visme.
It's funny because at a high level, it's the kind of story I hear all the time, right? Where you've got a brand, they've got a problem, they're duct taping, we're using the word tools loosely in these kinds of scenarios, right? Together to create a solution, and they end up programming their own internal solution that then gets released out in the wild for everybody else to take advantage of. And those are tremendous success stories. Now, before we get into how you solved that problem,
Mm-hmm.
let's take a step back real quick and help our audience understand what you mean by a good affiliate. What does that mean to you?
That is an excellent question, Mike. And I'd like to also shed some light on this, that stuff that I'm going to talk about today isn't necessarily applicable to all types of businesses, right? So I wanted to be an inspiration to go back now to your and look back at your target audience and see, okay, how can we kind of apply some of these to our industry? Because one of the first things that needs to get unraveled when it comes to starting an affiliate program is to understand how your customers, ideally your ICP, are finding you and where they're looking for it, right? So let me give you a few examples. So let's say if you sell some beauty products, let's say you sell like hand lotion or makeup, it's unlikely that you would use the same affiliate channels than a software product like Responder, right? So like, for example, for a lot of lifestyle products like that or e-commerce, it's probably best to focus more on influencers on social media, right? TikTok influencers, Instagram, etc. Versus products like Agorapulse and Responder, the way our customers find us is predominantly through Google, right? So if you're looking for a solution to help you automate scheduling your social media posts and manage your social media, what's the first thing that people do, Mike?
Yeah, they open Google and start looking.
Exactly. And then you come across a few solutions and then start learning more about them. It's unlikely that you see a post of a beauty influencer on Instagram, and then you're like, oh, a girl pulse, right? So it's just a very different target market. And on the other hand, if you have a very expensive enterprise grade, let's say you are in medical device sales, right? And the way that hospitals purchase equipment isn't necessarily through Googling to find, okay, what is an MRI machine? And then let me order a $200,000 MRI machine off the internet. So the process of partnering with, and it's not as far-fetched like that, but even some other software platforms that are on the enterprise side, normally for those channel partners, you normally want to partner with other companies that cater to the same audience, right? Not necessarily bloggers, right? Or people that have an SEO traffic coming to their site. So what I'm trying to say is that first step to identify the right ideal affiliate is to understand, okay, what is the type of business that we have, and how our current customer base, or how our ideal customer profile currently goes through the research process to find a product or solution like ours.
That's such an important tip that I hope you folks that are listening kind of ingest, because it's, I think, true across your entire swath of all of your marketing activities, which is to start with who you're trying to talk to first. Understand your target audience, understand where they're hanging out, where they're consuming information, how they're learning about products like yours. And that's where you'll start to find potential affiliates, right? Like you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Can you think of a couple of specific affiliates from past, either for Respona specifically or for Visme, and help us kind of understand the makeup of those individuals? What made them a great affiliate for you?
Absolutely. So, at the time, we didn't know any of the stuff that I'm talking about today. So we
Right?
we had to throw quite a lot of spaghettis on the wall and figure out what works. And what happened to work for us was exactly like I'm mentioning now, was focus on the affiliates that had access to our target ideal customers. So for us in particular, the type of affiliates that are generating basically a good amount of referrals are the type of audience that are ranking on Google for terms that are related to our business. not necessarily focused on social media or active, right? We found that has very little to no impact, just simply because, first of all, it's not the right channel for us. And also, there's normally a bump of traffic and signups, and then 2 days later, no one knows who you are, right? Whereas when we get mentioned on a certain, for example, let's say for a Grow Pulse, you get mentioned on this blog post, is ranking on, top page of Google on what are some of the best social media platforms. You're getting an evergreen flow of traffic to that page, and that's how your target customers are finding solutions, right? That's normally the first thing I would go and type. So those type of partnerships where we get ourselves mentioned on either blog posts or certain articles that are already ranking, or YouTube videos that are ranking for our target keywords, either through Google or YouTube and our search engines. Those seem to be the most fruitful for us in the past.
That makes so much sense. And it really aligns well with our conversation in our past episode. I was talking to Goldie Chan about B2B influencer marketing and what makes for a good relationship. And the topic came up, how do we find influencers for a B2B brand? And it was the same story. It was all about the content. She got found by Adobe because of the video content that she was creating on LinkedIn. And you're talking about the exact same scenario, just from the other perspective, right? From the brand, we're looking for influencers, we're looking for affiliates, which means we're looking at the content, not their number of social followers, because that's not irrelevant, but certainly not important, right? It's what kind of content are they creating? Does it align with what we're looking for as a brand? Now, I'm definitely going to want you to help us understand how to find affiliates in just a second. But before I do, if I'm a new brand, I'm starting up an affiliate program, do you have any initial recommendations before I start recruiting new affiliates? What should I have in place? What should I be thinking about?
Sure. So there's a few simple, I would say, check marks you want to check before you start actively recruiting candidates or affiliates. And the first one is putting in place an external software, not to go and bother your engineering team to build your own. That is one mistake that we did at Visme at the beginning, was to basically build our own solution that was tracking affiliate referrals through our own app. And we were like, okay, this is a simple tracking link, and then we can, put together a UI and move on. And it just was a nightmare to, first of all, maintain that platform, and also created a sense of distrust between us and our affiliates, just simply because we had all the control over tracking all the referrals, right? So putting and moving away from that internal solution and kind of going and starting with an affiliate software like First Promoter or Rewardful, these sort of tools are not quite as expensive and it's definitely worth the investment. Was definitely a good place to start, is to have an external software, so you kind of have that neutral third party that decides on the number of referrals and the commissions.
And how can a brand actually ensure that they're seeing an ROI on their investment in affiliates?
So that's quite easy to measure, since you normally track the conversions from the signups. And again, it differs based on different types of products. Like some companies have a very complicated sales cycle, right? There's contracts involved, and DocuSign signed, right? So it gets a little complicated to track. But thankfully for our products like Visme, Respond, and even in Grow Pulse, there's a self-serve, clear-cut sign-up flow, and you basically track the conversions and see, okay, here's how many people this affiliate referred, here's how many of them converted, and here's the revenue generated, and here's how many of them stick around after 3 months, right? So sort of KPIs like that is quite easy to measure for us, but again, obviously that differs for different companies.
Perfect. Now, folks, we're talking with Farzad Rashadi about affiliate marketing programs. And just like ROI is critical for that channel, it's also critical for social media. And so here's our CMO, Daryl Prale, to tell you more.
It's the Arc de Triomphe. Can you imagine if you're in charge, if you're the CMO of marketing Paris? What are your main channels? Wow, there's the Arc de Triomphe. There's the Eiffel Tower. There's the Louvre. Those are your channels you're going to use to drive tourism dollars in. Okay, now, but you're not the CMO of Paris. In fact, you're the CMO of your company, product, service. So what are your main channels? Well, I'm going to guess there are things like pay-per-click, maybe trade shows, events, maybe content. Those are all pretty predictable, right? let me ask you this question. Are you treating social media as a main channel? By the way, only 1.8% of you today measure social media and can prove an ROI in that investment. HubSpot and Gartner say social media is the #1 channel to invest in this year. Are you doing it? If not, I can tell you why. You're not doing it because you don't have the tools, you don't have the mentality, and that's okay. We've got you covered. You change the mentality, we'll give you the tool. Pulse tracks all the ROI for you. One place to manage all your social media activity, your #1 channel. Change your success. Treat social media as a channel, one CMO to another. My name is Daryl. I'm with Pulse. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, Farzad, let's get back to affiliate marketing. And I was hoping that you would tell me how I can identify and how other brands can identify their best target affiliates.
So, there are different ways to skin a cat, Mike. So the strategies I'm going to go through today are simply merely examples. Obviously, this is not the Bible, right? So there are different ways and you could go about it. But some of the ones that have worked well for us in the past and hopefully have been inspiration has been one, starting with blog articles in particular that are already published in your space that are listing similar products. Like, for example, we think of it at, we call this the listicle strategy. And what that means is that, say for a goal pulse, you want to first start with blog articles that are written on what are some of the best management of social media, right? What are some of the best social media management tools? And there are different ways on how you can word that. But there's normally a finite number of search results that come up already in the search results and on the first page of Google that make a very good starting point for average when it comes to affiliate recruitment. That's one. A couple of things, obviously starting with product alternatives strategy. That's another simple one where, there are some other social media platforms that compete with Pulse, right? Let's call them Company X. We don't know who they are. So say if there are some customers or users like me who are looking for an alternative, one of the first things I do is that I go on Google terms like, hey, what are some of the best Hootsuite alternatives or buffer alternatives, right? Just because Pulse is better, we want to make sure that we are ranked or we're listed on some of those blog articles that are discussing alternatives to our competitors, just because those are very high intent posts. Similar ones with what we call the competitor mention, where there's other blog articles or could be even news articles that are basically specifically mentioning your competitor's name, right? So say, for example, for Visme, it would be Canva. So articles that are discussing Canva or mentioning the word Canva, it would be a place for us to start to reach out to those blog owners, whoever's in charge of their editorial, to invite them to come and join our affiliate program. And those are normally very simple and easy to do strategies that I highly recommend folks to get started with. But then we can get into some of the more advanced techniques. For example, if you're familiar with tools like SparkToro, that's a company by Rand Fishkin. They basically tell you some of the best podcasts, some of the best blogs and news articles, publications that your audience normally visits. So you can say, okay, my audience has these words in their job title or talks about this and that topic. And then it normally gives you a list of some niche publications that a lot of your audience normally visits. So those would be also candidates that you could potentially target. And we can get into some of the more deeper, I would say, strategies where we kind of sort of take a look at our competitors, and not necessarily competitors, but companies that are in our space. For example, let's say Pulse and Visme or Respana, right? Yeah. Respana is in the marketing space. Pulse is also in the marketing space, even though we don't compete with each other in any level, but we cater normally to the same audience, right? So we cater to marketers. And understanding, okay, let's take a look at Pulse's backlinks profile and see what are some of the top performing external links that they have, and see if there are affiliates of Pulse, right? So normally affiliate links have a very unique structure, right? Normally it's like question mark ref equals to, or that unique identifier that normally affiliate programs offer tools issue for those companies. So when you look at any domain's backlink profile, you can easily identify, okay, which one of these are affiliate links and which one of them are just regular backlinks. And we take a look at their affiliate links and see, okay, let's sort that based on traffic. And in order to do that, you can use tools like SEMrush or Ahrefs or Respond, right? I don't mean to plug our tool too much, but basically it gives you a list of top performing affiliates of any domain, really. So you can start with some competitors and then kind of broaden that search by looking at some of the other products or services that are, within a similar price point that are in your space that cater to the same audience. So that pretty much gives you an unlimited pool of potential affiliates that you could reach out to. And it's a matter of basically finding out who's the right person at each one of these websites, getting their contact info, validate that, and reach out to them via email or LinkedIn. And those are type of initiatives that Respond automatically takes care of for you. So you can kind of save a lot of time that way. But you don't need to have access to all these tools. You can, again, start by doing some manual outreach, just Googling around and doing some manual outreach. And once you have a proof of concept, then tools like Respond basically helps you pour gasoline on the fire and kind of, take things to the next level.
I definitely want to come back to that outreach part for a second in a moment and get your input into what that should look like, what's a good way to do it, and so on. But for the moment, I want to give you full permission to plug away, because I want to understand, how does Respond help me with this? How does it make everything that you just talked about easier, automatic? What does it do that these other tools and band-aid solutions don't do? Because I imagine there's some things that I could do with your tool that a spreadsheet and Google aren't going to happen.
Right. So, Mike, there isn't much magic that Responder does, except that it brings the whole process under one roof and automates the tedious, repetitive tasks so that you can scale things quicker, right? So that any sort of outreach tactic, regardless of the strategy, whether it be for affiliate recruitment or blogger outreach or link building, right, which is to gain authoritative backlinks from other websites, it normally comes down to 3 steps or 4 steps, however way you want to devise it. So first one is discovery. So understanding, okay, we know, let's go through an example so it would make sense. Let's say we would like to reach out to listicle strategies, right? So listicle blog posts that are talking about what are some of the best social media tools. So Responder has a template where basically you can just input, okay, what is your niche, right? Give us a few more secondary keywords. What's your product name? What's your domain? And give us a few sentences on what makes your product unique and also the incentive for the blogger. So it could be discussing the affiliate commission structure that you have, or if you're willing to offer some sort of free trials or some sort of incentive so that there's something in it for the person that you're contacting. So what then Responder does, it basically, using that information, is going to first come up with these pretty comprehensive advanced operators in Google. So Google's very powerful search engines, but most people don't know how to use it. Using these advanced operators, the different combinations make the search very bad or good. So if you're just looking at best social media tools, obviously there's a lot of software review sites, there's some competitors, right? So out of that, 10 or so pages that Google gives you, you end up with a handful. But if you know how to kind of structure these advanced operators and run several queries, which is what Responder does, and then basically automatically scrape Google results and run it through an SEO software. On default, we use Moz, but folks can connect their own SEMrush or Ahrefs account to filter out some of the lower quality search results that don't get as much traffic or have a certain domain authority. And so that whole process of, okay, building these advanced operators based on the information you inputted, scraping the Google results, taking out the duplicates, competitor software review sites, and also making sure that we're running through some of these SEO metrics to come up with a list of websites you want to reach out to. So that's the prospecting phase. Second phase comes down to finding the contacts. And that's something that is, I would say, the most time-consuming part of the process. Because normally what we had to do was to have a full-on team of virtual assistants, basically, that would go through each one of these websites and go on LinkedIn, find some sort of content manager or partnerships, SEO manager, or some sort of a person in their editorial team, someone relevant in their marketing department, and then get their email address using certain tools like Hunter, Snowvio, ZoomInfo, right? And then put that list of contacts for each website on a spreadsheet and verify the email, make sure they're deliverable, and then export, and you put it into an email outreach platform. So that whole process is completely automated. So basically what Responder does then is that it goes through every single one of these websites. We are connected to 24 different public data providers for company employee data, and find the emails and verify in real time, all on autopilot, right? And you can review them, make sure everything's good to go. And then the last step is basically email outreach, where Responder puts together all the sequences, all the variables automatically pre-filled based on the information you inputted. All the email templates are custom made for you, right? So you don't have to sit down and think about how to write a template. And you have the option to send also connection requests to the prospects that you're contacting, maybe add a tad of manual personalization to the email if you're contacting some of the higher intent prospects. And then once you click verify and launch, it basically starts sending out emails from your own email account and follows up with these folks automatically until someone responds to these emails, and then it ends up in your own inbox and you take it over from there. So that full flow from discovery to finding contacts to outreach automation is sort of done under one roof. So you can go through the whole process that I described within 10 minutes instead of 10 hours.
I know all of you listening right now, you have entire teams of staff. You've got all these account managers and partnership managers and an army of VAs overseas. So you've got all kinds of time, but me, I'm by myself. I'm a team of one. So to hear you talk about the time that's saved, because when you talk about the research and the prospecting and the outreach, it's all manual for me at this moment. So I definitely felt some pain and some anxiety listening to you talk about adding on all these layers of, Google searches and sheets and so on. That's fantastic. I love it. So when you get to that outreach phase, right now, you're basically cold calling, right, some prospective affiliates. What kinds of tips or advice do you have for people at this point of the process?
So I always say there's 3 pillars to any sort of outreach tactic. That would basically be I would say keys to success, as cliche as it sounds. First of all is, I would say, personalization, and that's on a deep level. There's a lot of email outreach platforms, right? Everybody knows when they get an automated email, hi, first name, right? So we can just smell it from a mile away. I get over 100 emails every day. So when you take the time to just add one personalized sentence, like, hey, Mike, remember me joining your webinar last year, right? Just one little sentence at the very beginning of your email. It doesn't require you to do, deep research and know Mike's dog's name, right? People sometimes go overboard with that. Some account executives, but basically, this is kind of like sales, right? Even though it's a partnership, you are still trying to sell yourself because there's still quite a lot of other affiliate programs that potential affiliate could reach out or could join. So having that one personalized sentence captures their eye and makes them want to at least take the time to respond to say no if they are not interested, right? So having that that builds some level of rapport and helps you get a much better replier. So adding just a tad of personalization to each email before you get sent out. So what Responder does is that it actually reads the content of the page that you found the affiliate on, and then it gives you some snippets that you can input into the email. So it doesn't take too much time. You don't have to sit down and read their entire blog. Another one is multi-channel approach. So a lot of people get a ton of emails to their inbox, right? But if I get an email from Mike, I'm on it. Why? Because I know Mike. We've collaborated before. I've had interactions with you outside of my inbox. So those emails I prioritize in my day because I value our relationship. So same thing goes when it comes to reaching out to affiliates. So what Responder does is that we help you find LinkedIn profiles, each one of these affiliates that you're reaching out to. So you just send them a connection request, especially if your email profile image is the same as your LinkedIn profile image, right? It clicks. So when a person receives a connection request on their LinkedIn, and then like a day or so later, they get an email in their inbox. We found that to be statistically significant enough that you get much better reply rates that way versus just a cold email. So that multi-channel approach is the second. And the third is the incentive, right? So at the end of the day, even if you have a very personalized approach to your outreach and you found that person on LinkedIn and send them a connection request, what matters is that since it's normally the first touch with that person, automatically in their mind, because they also run a business, right? If you're an affiliate, your business is affiliate marketing. This is how you make a living. So what's also going to make or break your campaign is what are you offering in return? Normally, a few good things to offer, right? Just as an example, is if you have a SaaS product or an e-commerce product that is within reason, right? You're not selling like cars. So if you're selling like a GoRapulse subscription or Respondent subscription, that's like $99 a month, right? We offer them like a year-long access on the house. We're like, hey, come try it out, see how it works, right? So you're not promoting something you're completely unfamiliar with, right? So a free trial is always helpful, or free product. With quite a lot of e-commerce companies also doing that. Two is obviously your affiliate structure or your commission structure. So lots of affiliates love reoccurring commissions versus one-offs, right? So if I'm referring someone to sign up for a GoRapulse or for Respondent, if I have a 20-30% reoccurring commission, we all know that reoccurring revenue is gold, right? Because when they refer you one customer, that customer stays with you for 2 years. That adds up. So having that affiliate commission structure, something that would make sense. Obviously, e-commerce not possible, right? So you want to structure it however way would make sense, but having that be a significant enough percentage that it would incentivize folks to take the time to join your affiliate program, go through the hoops, and actually start actively promoting you is key. And last but not least, I would say another good incentive that works always is to make it easy for them to promote you, right? So when I say make it easy for them, a lot of affiliate managers, they're like, hey, put together a packet of your screenshots, videos, and like books about your platform, and you give this to them. And then I sometimes take a look, like at Visme, we made the same mistake. We put together this Google Drive folder of like a million different things. I'm like, I work here and I'm never going to look at everything that's in here. Like I don't have enough hours in the day to just sit down and read these like novels you've written about Visme. I was like, cut it out. Nobody cares. So what worked well for us was actually in that pitch, we were like, hey, you already have an article on best social media tools. Let me write an excerpt that matches the tone of your blog post and a screenshot. It's ready to copy and paste. It's not plagiarized. I'm going to sit down, write it for you. And you can just copy paste it in here and join our affiliate program. So within 30 seconds, you just start making recurring commission. So they'll go overboard with the whole marketing kit. Nobody's going to open it, right? Just make it super easy for them to start promotion. And that's just my 2 cents.
So I'm sending a note right now to my design team to stop putting that together after too. Sorry, guys.
Well, I must give it to you though, Mike. Honestly, anything that GoRapulse puts out looks absolutely incredible. I'm not just saying that because I'm biased because I love you, but I'm just saying that whoever is your designer at GoRapulse is kick ass.
We have a great design team, and you're right. I am super blessed. I mean, they do the graphics for my show here. They do the graphics and videos for my quarterly summits. Makes everything look and sound so much more professional. So thank you for mentioning that, because they are a fantastic team. And I love something else you mentioned earlier. You just kind of tossed out the word partner, and I love that so much. It's this perception that an affiliate is a partner. It's why we're talking about affiliates here on this show. We should be bringing them on as partners, which leads me to my last question. I want to know if you have any ideas or tips on how to keep affiliates around after you've got them onboarded.
So, Mike, I'm going to be totally honest with you. This is also something that is more of an experiment for ours too, for us too. And reason being is people are very busy nowadays, and we found. So what we just started doing, especially on the business side, when we had our affiliates, so we had a network of close to about 1,000 active affiliates. We're like, okay, this is great, and let's try having some events, all right, put together and have some sort of webinars, and we kind of show them like new features of Visme. And we just found that attendance for those are quite low, and just because it was sort of a broadcasted sort of event to a list of emails, right? It wasn't that one-on-one conversation with each one of our affiliates. So what we found that works best is that we would take out the list of affiliates, and then we knew already how their trajectory looks like. And so if you see an affiliate that is sort of stagnant, or their affiliates or their commission structure is sort of churning out, right? So some of the customers that may be churning out and they're not referring any new ones, or it is on the way up. Regardless, we'd reference that in an email that we send to each one. And again, we are still a smaller team, right? Even though there's 100 folks, but affiliate team is still small. So we have only limited capacity to be able to handle. But we would actually set up one-on-one calls with each one of the affiliates, just so we sort of put a face next to the name, and we're like, hey, we're human beings, right? We're not just some company signed up for their affiliate program, but let me help you earn more commissions. So what we would then do is that for folks that would actually do take the time to set up that call, we would actually run through their blog and kind of see, okay, what are some of the top ranking pages they already have that's somewhat similar to ours. And we're like, hey, listen, so you have a Agorapulse mentioning your best, for example, social media management tool. You also have another blog post on some of the top marketing tools of 2023, something like that. And I think it would also make sense to mention Agorapulse here, right? So find some other pages on the website that you could easily, and then again, we offer to obviously write and give a screenshot on everything. So it's plug and play for them. And also give them some tips and hey, maybe this blog post that you mentioned is sort of on a downward trend. Maybe try rewriting the post, right? And we will offer to help them with that, right? And maybe it's time to kind of do some content refresh. Maybe it's time to do some link building for this post, right? So any sort of advice we could give them to help them earn more commissions also create some goodwill that is mutually beneficial, right? So they're earning more commissions, and what that means is that they're referring more customers and signups to us.
I'm so glad you brought this up, because one of our affiliates had approached me a couple of weeks ago, said, Mike, I'd just like to have 30 minutes of your time and ask you some questions. I said, sure. So we had a call, and it was essentially what you just described, right? I was giving him a 30-minute consulting call on how to be a better affiliate. Because, for instance, he'd been doing YouTube videos about just general marketing topics, not even mentioning Agorapulse, but he'd always have our link, an affiliate link, in the description of the video. I said, that's nice, but that's not driving any traffic or interest, because the videos have nothing to do with Agorapulse. They're just general marketing videos. So I was able to give him ideas and suggestions on what to do. And after that call, I was debating, should I invite our 300 other channel partners and affiliates to book such a call with me? Now, I know they're not all going to take that time, but still, that was a significant investment of time potentially.
Right.
So that's why I'm glad you brought that up, because that reinforces that, yeah, that probably would be a good use of my time, at least for some of those.
Absolutely. And it's a matter of prioritization, of course, right? So you'd like to start with affiliates that have already started, actively promoting Agorapulse. They have earned some sort of commission, right? And so starting with those folks normally is going to be more fruitful, just simply because they've shown more interest than some of the folks that haven't already started, right? Haven't even started. So normally a lot easier to help them grow more versus to activate, right? So normally want to prioritize them, which is normally a subset of the entire affiliate network.
Awesome. Farzad, this has been fantastic. This has been so much fun to catch up and literally pick your brain on this topic. Thank you. Let folks know where they can find you and learn more about you and these great companies you represent.
Oh, thanks. Well, Respona's website is respona.com, RESPONA. And we have quite a lot of just free educational material that's ungated. So if you're looking for more affiliate recruitment strategies and kind of the step-by-step instructions, we actually have an outreach strategy hub at the footer of our website that we give you like ready-to-use recipes. And you don't need to use Respona for them. As I said, you can do most of them manually. And me personally, I'm on LinkedIn. It's probably my best social media platform to connect with. And my name is Farzad Rashidi. There's not a whole lot of us out in the world, so I stick out like a sore thumb. So I'm pretty easy to spot there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And that's all we've got for today, friends. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Partnership Unpacked podcast on Apple and drop us a review. We'd love to know what you think. Until next time.